So he's handed out some paperwork. You guys got his information. Do get back to Bob. We have Kymberly Evans coming up here next, and she is going to give us a little information about public speaking. Thank you very much, Kymberly.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm actually Kymberly Williams-Evans, and I know that in your emails he had promised 5 quick tips, but I'm going to make it even better, just 4 quick tips, because you have emails coming. And this brief talk, I purposely chose to not use PowerPoint, not use a board, because I wanted to recreate the situation that you probably are going to find yourselves in, which is needing to get in front of a group, perhaps without knowing ahead of time. Extemporaneously, you're called upon, say, even in a meeting like this, to talk about what you're doing. So I wanted to be able to share with you a couple of suggestions so that you could help your listener help you. All right? So I'm semi-altruistic, that if you're going to speak, you want people to listen, and there's something you want from them, and then there's something you need to give them. Tip number 1. Well, before I get to tip number 1, let's set the scene. Have any of you ever been in a situation where you've been listening to a speaker and the speaker is droning and droning and you're thinking, how soon is this over? You have that trapped feeling. You can't wait to get out of there. I'm not saying it's happened to me at this meeting ever, but I understand that feeling, and I want to make sure that you are not that person, that you are not the one people are listening to, watching their watch. You can be the kind of speaker, even with no notice, with 4 quick tips where people will be able to pay attention, for a short time at least, if you are able to speak in a manner that speaks to them. So tip number 1, super important. Ask yourself, what's in it for my listener? Why should my listener care? Instead of thinking, why am I here? What do I have to say? What is my research all about? Here's something about me. I would rather you ask yourself, what is the benefit to my listener? And with every sentence, ask yourself at the end of it mentally, so what? Why should my reader care? For example, I started out, instead of saying, I'm going to talk about my background, I'm going to say X, I said, what if how many of you would like to be the kind of speaker people listen to? How many of you have experienced the opposite situation that you don't want to recreate? So thinking in terms of what is the benefit to your reader. So after every sentence, if you're preparing at all, or in the back of your mind, keep that idea. So what? Why should my reader care? Or my listener, in this case, okay? Tip number 2. Put your bottom line on top. And by that I mean, first say, what is it I want from my listener? That's back to why should my listener care? What is the bottom line? How many of you have ever been in a situation where you're listening to the reasons, you're listening to the background, the data, but you're waiting for the shoe to drop? Right. And I'll give you a home life example. Maybe you can relate to a personal example. I know I've gone to my husband and I've said, honey, I had a really long day. I've done so many things. I have all these deadlines. I was super busy. And I know all the time, I think he's like fascinated by everything I'm saying. But in the back of his mind, what is he thinking? What do you want from me? She's going to lay the big one on me soon. Therefore, will you please do the grocery shopping for me? So I put the bottom line on the bottom. I want you to put your bottom line on top. If I had come to him and said, hey honey, you know what? Will you do the grocery shopping for me? And he says, which he probably would, sure, no problem.